John Maynard Keynes, the leading economist of his day, predicted 100 years ago that most of us will only need to work about 15 hours per week. He also predicted the economy would grow nearly eightfold during that 100-year time frame. It turns out his prediction for economic growth was correct, but obviously we are nowhere close to a 15-hour work week. Why? Where did he go wrong? Why are we working much longer hours than he predicted? There were two things Keynes apparently did not foresee. The first was that women would enter the labor force in large numbers in the 1960s and 1970s. But let's stop and think about that for a second. That means many households would have become two-income households instead of one. In that case, we ought to have reached the predicted work week 50 years sooner. As household income grew, we should need to work less to meet our needs. So what actually happened? What actually happened was what social scientists call the phenomena of social comparison, but what you and I better know as keeping up with the Joneses. We spent more and more to consume more goods and services. Now, there need not necessarily be anything wrong with this. If, say, by keeping up with each other more and having more goods and services available to us, we enhanced our well-being and our happiness, then perhaps that justifies the consumption and the longer work weeks, the 40 hours a week instead of the 15-hour work week that Keynes predicted. But that is not quite what happened. Happiness is declining in America. If anything, we have become less happy in spite of consistent and significant GDP growth. This graph was taken from the 2018 World Happiness Report. It shows that despite tremendous GDP growth, levels of happiness, in red, are declining over time in America. Among the reasons cited for the decline in happiness over the last few decades is the rise of chronic disease among Americans. That rise, as those who watch this channel know, is due to the very consumerism that has led to increased productivity. In other words, yes, consumerism drives gross domestic productivity. The only problem is we are a people, not a machine. We've never been interested in increasing productivity for the sake of productivity. Rather, we're interested in our health, our well-being, and ultimately our happiness. The data is clear and it's an indictment of our way of living. By consuming less, we can save and invest more to not just work 15-hour work weeks, but to in fact become financially independent of our employers altogether.